know I sent it out to a number of people, so there could be people that we don't know and have a connection with. But I'm going to say it. Our products don't diagnose, cure, treat, anything. It's just a miraculous, weird chain of events, and when they take our products, they get better. There, so it's just weird. Don't know how it works. Actually, I do. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about you for a moment. Okay? Then we're going to get into the menopause. Trust me, this, how do I say this? This particular subject is so much fun to be a guy researching and to talk to people, because what was really fun is to get on the phone with cousins and family members, because I think some of you know I have like 28 cousins within 8 years, 9 years of my life. I guess Penny's 9 years, I thought she was always 8. 9 years of my life, and 3 of us boys. So it was so growing up I knew all about PMS, I knew all about all this stuff. I knew all about which ones to buy for which cousins, because they would send me this store. Because even before I could drive, being the low guy in the totem pole, you're going to bike to town, you're going to go get me that, and because they had PMS I was scared, so I went. So I've been there, done that, okay, been there. But here's the thing, I'm going to give you the best description I can give you for what we're going to talk about today, okay? Let's just say for a moment, not that it's Mr. Randy Tyner and Kathy Tyner, not his owners. Let's say for a moment that there is a woman, let's call her 35, okay? And through the kids and the hormonal changes that happen when you have kids, now instead of the PMS being this, the PMS is this, right? Got the picture? High voltage, crying in the corner. High voltage, crying in the corner. You got it? Okay? Sybil, head spins, eyes roll back, life's scary. Yes? And she knows it.
Oh no.
Okay? This isn't one where you go, I'm not that bad, right? Anyway. And
hey, I'm not that bad.
yeah, see?
I'm not going to make my head spin.
Must not be that time. Anyway. I almost spit that.
I bought that.
Then her mom, okay, so we got this, she's 35, she's rich as heck, okay? Let's add that in there. Uber money. Then her mom hits menopause. And mom goes from hot flashes to cold flashes to irritability to low smooch and drive. She's got, it all, right? High, extreme menopause. In the original, the 35-year-old, let's call her Susie. Susie goes, I have all the money I need in the world. I can't continue to go on like this. I'm going to do some research, and I'm going to find the best products for these 2 problems. Whatever products they are, I need to address them, and I want them to be natural. I want to take care of my mom because she's a what? Loved one. Remember the L. Yes. I'm going to go back to these themes all day, so you might as well get used to it. I love my mom. She's the greatest. She's my best friend. Seeing her suffer is killing me. I'm going to do all this research on the product lines that are going to take care of menopause. And I'm tired of suffering with PMS. Okay, Susie is. Not me. Okay? Maybe Susie's a wife and the husband suffers a lot, I know. Anyway. If you could build a product line, take a guess what that product line would look like. Right there. And I'll show you one of the research papers. And the next time somebody tells you there aren't clinical studies on nutritional supplements, have not studied. Let me give you a clinical study done by a little group called Johns Hopkins. Just a little group. Clearly stated in their Culver, C-U-L-V-O-R, don't worry about it, you'll get all these later, references. We don't have a PMS or menopause problem. 75% of all women suffer from high levels at 3 or more times a year of menopausal problems, or menstruation problems. 75%. We do not have a PMS problem. We have a lack of glutathione problem.
Really?
That is their study. Additional study that says if you combine glutathione, enzymes, and electrolytes, you would diminish the volatility of PMS by between 80 and 90%. So I'm going to give you a visual somewhere. So picture somebody who goes through this cycle. Right? They start their month. They build towards what? Ovulation. Okay? Because of ovulation, they're dumping estrogen and glutathione into the reproductive areas because you might get pregnant, might, right? So you dump, which means the rest of the body is suffering from a lack of glutathione, which is your happiness. It's your mood swings. It dumps in electrolytes, particularly calcium, magnesium, those two in, potassium and calcium, which is your water regulating, which is why during the peak of pre-menstruation, we are what? Bloated, and we are moody. So let me figure this out. We lack glutathione, which is our happiness. We lack what? 2 minerals? Calcium and potassium. Those are the two. And we can't figure out why we are moody and bloating. So if we would add those to our diets during those times, instead of this, what institution of research, what did I tell you? Okay. They said 80 to 90%. So picture here to here. Okay. It would look like not even. So instead of this, will you still have some? Sure. There's a couple other hormones, and again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the individual names of hormones, because I don't think that's valuable information. I could stand here and do it, and then look smart, okay? But I think that's really stupid. Because I don't think anybody cares what the name is. They're just going, give me the stuff so I don't go through this. I'll take this all day long. Any of you ever dealt with somebody who's really, really, really intense during PMS? I mean, really intense? How much fun is it?
Not fun.
Share a story.
I'm a terrible person.
You're a terrible person. You're the extreme. Nice. I'm scared. Okay, yeah.
One of my sisters, when she was younger, she would have to stay home from school. She would be in intense pain, and then to this day, she's had all her stuff removed because of endometriosis and can't have kids and has to adopt. So
I get extreme pain. I'm in the fetal position the whole day. I'm violently throwing up. Like I can barely. My whole body is just in pain nonstop.
That pain is the calcium.
really,
Yeah, think about when you're depleted of calcium. Feel good or feel bad? Bad. If you didn't know it was calcium, now you know. Because the body then will go, I am going to rob everything possible to make sure I have enough calcium in my system where I need it. So as it's robbing, it's painful. You know, it's like, I love this. I just had this. I got a phone call. A friend of mine called and says, hey, I've got gallstones, or kidney stones. And I went, oh man, dude, that's a lot of fun. Do you throw a party? Do you have like a lottery on who get, how many stones you're going to pass? I'm having fun, And he's like, you have no idea how much this hurts. Yeah, I know, because I make sure I have extra calcium in my body. What? Okay, I went right into what? Internal change. I'm going to make sure he knows the truth. And he goes, my doctor said to eliminate all calcium out of my diet. I went, oh, I said, does he have a new car? Well, I don't know. Well, he must need one. Or he needs to pay one off, one of the two. And he's like, hold on, wait a sec. Name's Rick. And I go, Rick, would you listen to me for a moment? When the body is in a state of loss, it will hoard. Okay? And we're going to go back to why you have these extreme pains. When your body's in a state of loss, it will hoard. So when you are lacking calcium, it's going to do what?
Store it in your kidney.
Hoard. And store it. Where's a really cool place where you want calcium to be? Your kidneys. Because then when you need it, it goes, ooh, I can take it right out of there. And what I don't need will pass. But I'm a nice little storage spot for calcium. Ooh, I need it. Oh, you don't have enough? Oh, I got to store it. And it'll store it in mass called what? Kidney stones. Okay? So the same thing happens during your period. Body goes, hey, I might get what? Pregnant? Ooh, hey, that's a fun time. I might. Does it want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Designed for
We're designed for it. Maybe not right yet.
it. Maybe not ever.
Maybe someday.
You might not want to, but your body.
Your
Yeah.
body wants
Yeah, you might not. Yeah.
It's just your body.
Yeah. Wow, I could have a lot of fun with this. I'll be nice.
Wow. I'm sitting by her.
Mike, I don't think the good angel stands a chance.
I wouldn't even worry about it.
Okay, good. I was going to say they don't either, but that would be mean. Okay, so I might.
7-second delay.
Yeah, I know. Can we hit that? I might. And it's a good thing. The body wants it. It wants it. That's what we're designed to do. We're just be fruitful and multiply. I want. Okay, so it's going to go, hey, I'm going to take all the glutathione. I'm going to take it. Ooh, because I might. I'm going to put it all and store it right down here. Why? Because that's where where it might happen.
Oh, okay. I'm just kidding.
Told you, this is a tough one.
Hi.
Hey, come on in.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh no, here, the front spot in the middle is open for you.
Oh.
We're talking about having babies. Perfect timing.
His favorite subject.
Yeah. You should sit next door. Okay?
Just for babies.
Yeah. Okay? So now, we're in the mite stage. During, as it builds, slowly it's going to take glutathione and omega-3 and bulk it in the area. When you reach the peak of omega-3 and glutathione, which is ovulation, that's its peak, it's going, ooh, this is the best time to make stuff happen. Okay? You take the most of glutathione, the most of omega, and it's going to make it and produce it and keep it at its highest level. So it doesn't make omega-3, but it'll keep it. Won't let it go. We do make glutathione at its peak. That's when you're usually your happiest.
Oh, happiest.
Yes. We know what kind of happy we're making reference here too, right? We're happiest at this time. This is when busy happens a lot, because we're happiest. This is a really delicate way to walk. Okay? Yes.
Happy.
Happy. We're going to stick with happy. Okay?
A lot of tiptoeing there.
Yeah. A lot of tiptoeing. Okay? So, you've got the highest level of omega, highest level of glutathione. We're at our happiest. Okay? Your electrolytes, if you're low at this time, okay, is one of the reasons where infertility comes in. Okay? So if you have somebody and they're going, hey, I eat pretty good, blah, 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 and there's nothing wrong with all the machinery. His machinery's great, her machinery's great, we even been checked. All the machinery's good, but we're not getting pregnant. What are they most likely?
Low in electrolytes.
What? Low in electrolytes, which makes you what? It's an A word. AC.
Acidic.
Acidic. Okay, yes.
I know someone, and I met him here, but they couldn't make it, that she only ovulates once almost never.
Mm-hmm.
Every 9 months or something crazy.
Sure.
What's that all about?
Yeah. Okay. So her question was, because people online couldn't hear that, so I'll repeat it. Don't forget yours, but I'll come back to it. her question was, or not really her statement was, what's wrapped in a question is, I have a friend that only ovulates about once every 9 months. Okay? Now there are many reasons that a person might not ovulate. One of which could be stress. Stress puts a lot of pressure on the system. You may be so volatile in the swings, particularly here, where you don't have enough what? Glutathione, or enough omega-3, or enough
Calcium.
electrolytes, particularly potassium and calcium, where the body goes, I don't even want to take the chance. I don't even want to take the chance of getting pregnant.
Really?
Okay? The body knows. Think about this. I'll go back to how it's just us, and I know most people online, so I'm just going to speak right. God designed us. Freaky amazing. Okay? Let me give you an example. Heather works out a lot. Okay? God, I saw you on Facebook. You lost a lot of weight. You look great.
Thanks.
Okay? Even saw some congratulatory. I thought I would do it personally. Okay? So anyway, a little sidebar squirrel. There it went. Okay, I'm back. But when it goes to the gym, okay, she gets on a quad machine. If you don't know what a quad machine is you're doing what?
Leg extension.
Leg lift. Okay? So you're going to lift your leg. Okay? She's going to lift it. Show me how fast you normally go when you do them.
It depends, but
About that?
yeah.
Okay, what do you do on top? You just do what you're doing right there? Up, down, up, down?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay? It's completely wrong, but it's okay. Why is it wrong? Body mechanics. Okay? What happens is we are designed to protect ourselves. The body is designed to want to live. Everybody, I was a suicide counselor, and I've never wanted to die in my life, but I was a suicide counselor. If I could get them to understand they wanted to live, even a little, they weren't going to kill themselves. We're designed to want to live. Okay? So, what happens is, through design, the body goes, ooh, danger. How many muscles in a quad? Thought I would help you on that.
Thank your ingredients.
Okay? There's 4. How many will it send when it's in danger? 1. The other 3 are sitting there going, well, I'm moving, but I'm not really doing much because I'm going to let that be the one who's going to take the fall. Literally, in what she was doing on a leg lift, she is only firing 1, maybe 2, because she was going a little bit slow. Maybe 2 of her 4, and the other 2 are what? Lucid. They're there, they're hanging out. Yeah, whatever. I'm not interested. I'm not safe. So what I used to do is I'd take the athletes and say, okay, let's teach you how the body works. Maybe like, I know how the body works because I've worked with a lot of guys and I worked with some Viking players and some cheerleaders. And they go, oh, I know. Really? Let's start with a leg lift. You do your leg lift, and then I'll show you how to do mine. And all of a sudden, when they do mine, all of a sudden they're going, this kind of burns. This burns a lot. I have never felt anything like this. And of course, the guys would go, I want to kill you, because it hurts like heck. And they go, oh, by the way, you have no delayed muscle soreness when you do it right. So I'm not going to be sore tomorrow? No. How do you know I'm going to have a good workout? You can't walk.
You can't chase me.
Right.
That's what that was.
Okay? So in a quad, in a leg move, it only sends how many when it's in danger? 1, maybe 2. When the body's in danger, will it send the egg? No.
And it knows to do that.
And it knows to do that by design. God designed it. Okay? Stress. When the body's under stress. Is it in danger? Yes, stress kills. Doesn't want to bring a baby in. It doesn't even want to get pregnant because when is the most fragile time in the entire process? First few weeks. First trimester. Okay? So if it's going, hey, it's fragile. Lack of these things. Good conditions, bad. Bad. That answer your question? So what are some things you're going to need to do to have your friend change the mechanics of their body?
Less stress and
And we'll talk about heavy metals and how they affect. Were you getting my gist here? What was your question?
I think you answered most of it, but my
Shocking.
former roommate she can't get her period at all, and she can't get pregnant ever. Like, her body just doesn't have it, so.
Sure.
Is that pretty much what you just discussed then?
Sure.
Okay.
It's possible. Let's go back to, are there people that are born without eyesight?
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, it's, you know, it's the way they were born. It is possible that they were born without the ability to ovulate and get pregnant. It is possible. What they're finding, and again, lots and lots of research. I mean, I put countless hours in this, and it was a lot of fun. It really was, and we'll talk about some of the research. It's pretty trippy. But what they are finding is most of the time, it's external problems, external reasons that they're not. And so it's, you know, I'll give you another example is our environment plays a big key, okay? And what happened was this guy wanted to prove this theory wrong. And what was happening was these couples were adopting kids. And then what would happen? Because they couldn't have kids, they would adopt. They get pregnant.
They're less stressed.
And so they were trying to figure out why this would happen. Of course, he was trying to disprove. He goes, no, that's a, what do they call that myth? A myth, sure. Wives' tale, thank you. So he did this research across the country, and all of a sudden, he found out, wow, this is a crazy high level. And he had to admit that there's got to be a reason, because it was happening at a very, very, very high level, including people who were diagnosed, it is not possible for you to get pregnant. And what he found was, and you got to mind you, this is an atheist who found this. He found that those who were spiritually led in their household had the highest level of babies when they adopted. And so, again, I'll go back to stress. When you're trying to have a baby, okay, is that high level of stress, low level of stress?
I love it.
How would you know?
I don't know. I have sisters that want
Okay.
babies.
Yeah.
Depends on how hard you try it.
That's right. I gotta admit, it was some of the funnest time of my life.
That's what these guys are saying.
I know. It was horrible. I had to come home early from work. You need to come home early. Why? It was horrible.
She's happy.
She's happy. Yeah.
I'm really happy.
You need to come home every day for like the next 5 days. Oh. Okay. I have to. It was horrible. But I will tell you, at a year plus, the stress started setting in. And then you start going, do we need to go get checked? You know? And then it really was stressful. And then as a guy, you start going, can I give my wife and me, you know, I want her children too, but can I give her something that she really, is there something problem with the hardware? You do, and it starts messing with it, and it does stress. And then once that hits, you're constantly at a high level of stress. And so this guy figured that out. He went through and he started researching. So then he got all these people, he got all these adoption agencies to allow him to come in and medically test the men and women before they adopted, so that he could figure out, and then he would go and find out, and he monitored them after the kids. What they found was blood pressure dropped. They were more alkaline. They rated their life higher in joy and happiness. Spiritually, they were at a higher level. Are you getting my point? So all these things improved. So now instead of stress going like this, stress looked like this. The body, instead of going through this emotional big swing, both men and women, both the men and women had this kind of thing going on. Were they more receptive to babies then?
Mm-hmm.
And what was funny was reading some of these articles, and of course they show the interviews with the guys, and he goes, we were happy a lot less. You're acting out our happiness a lot less. There's a better way to say it. And yet we got pregnant. Should we have done less all along? That was her response. No, I'm just kidding. No, and it was literally one of the questions, very predominantly stated in the interview. And he came back and what he concluded was this: what we do externally has a lot to do, and most everything to do, with what goes on internally, including getting babies and infertility. So, what are some things, and this is the shortest section of all of it for infertility, what are some things that we need to do? If you know somebody, remember you weren't here for this, but we said, here, we have a solution, we got somebody with a problem, what do we introduce them, what's our solution, okay? Because you guys will know the answer, but I'm going to give you the answer so that you can find this person who comes to you and go, we've been trying to have a baby, and you're going to go, I have a solution. What's their response going to be? We're doing that. Did you get that? You want me to slow that down? Okay, good.
They're happy.
You're happy a lot. And you're going to go, no, there's some things beyond that that can help you become pregnant. Okay? So what are some things that research, and again, I have references, I'll give them later. What are some things research says that you need to do? One of the things that research will tell you is you need to eliminate toxins in your environment. Toxins in pregnancy, bad juju. Again, think of it. You've reached a point. The swimmer, they meet. What does it immediately start doing? Splitting, right? Okay, we got this? We've all been through that class? Okay, this stage, extremely sensitive to chemicals. One of which is something called sodium lauryl sulfate. Am I saying that right? Sodium. It's close.
You can invent words.
I can, I'm the speaker. I have the microphone, I can get away with it. So say it again. Matt, what is it? Sodium. Lauryl sulfate. Okay, I got it in my brain wrong. So, all right. So, what is something that we have in most houses that have high levels of that? Laundry soap. What's our biggest organ? Skin. Okay. Shampoo. Matter of fact, I looked at 20 different brands between Menards and Walmart. Menards sells shampoo now. And I was looking through them. Take a guess how many of them had sodium SDS.
All of them.
Every single one. What's the quickest way to get it to your blood system? Breathing and drinking. When you take a shower, do you drink water or drink whatever's on you? Yes, you on average gain weight of about a pint if you take a bath, and about a third of a pint if you take a shower. You gain that weight. Soaks in water. Okay? That's a lot. Takes it in. So, shampoo has it. Matter of fact, 20 for 20. All of them did. I didn't find any that didn't. I just stopped counting at 20. I know there was more than 20, but you get my point. It's extremely. So they might be getting what?
Fertilized.
Pregnant.
Meeting. Yeah.
With why you don't even, and the couple don't even know that they were pregnant, because literally that stuff hits it. What does it do? Splits them. And not in a good way. It's like a bullet. So, is that something that if somebody were wanting to get pregnant, to change? Yeah. Also has a tremendous reaction to PMS and menopause, by the way. You're going to find they're almost identical themes. Okay? Need to be alkaline. If the body's acidic, the body won't want to get pregnant. You ever met somebody who goes, man, one pregnancy, piece of cake. Went through it, didn't get sick much, no morning sickness, but this baby, yeah. Guess how they walked into that? Acidic. No, nothing to do with younger.
Really?
Hey, I've met, it's funny because some of my cousins got pregnant when they were 20, 21, 22, some waited till they were a little bit older. Didn't matter. So I called a bunch of them, they're like, you know, so how was baby 1, 2, 3, and somewhere along the line, because a lot of my cousins had 3 or 4 kids, that's kind of a common number in my family. They go by the 3rd or the 2nd, never, almost non-existent on the 1st with my family, where they had this extreme sickness, whatever else. What was your experience?
Well, I was under pretty decent nutrition for all of them.
Oh, yeah,
I was
that's
like,
not
man,
fair.
if everybody can have pregnancies and deliveries like mine, everybody'd have 10 kids.
Yeah, but you had a lot of trouble with Gage with the second one.
Well,
It was so finicky on what you
Yeah,
could eat. and-
yeah, I couldn't eat. I had a lot of, like beef. I could not do beef with him.
Mhm.
There was a
I
lot of,
could, I could swear to you it was rancid, and he'd smell it and he'd fine. And then so then I'd make him cook it, and I'd like, he'd make tacos, and I'd have like 3 bites of the taco, and I have to set it down.
Were you eating store-bought beef or,
probably a little both.
yeah, store-bought would set you up because of the nitrates and body, especially if it's cleaner, will smell the nitrates
But
and
it
think
was-
it's rancid.
It was more than that. It was onions, it
Oh,
was
right.
peppers, it was
You came into
tomato
it acidic
sauce.
then.
She had to have been acidic,
Yeah.
going back and looking at
Yeah.
it.
What were you gonna say?
I had all 3 of my kids before I knew anything really about nutrition. I hated being pregnant. I was miserable. Morning sickness for like 2 trimesters, 24-hour morning sickness. I had 2 miscarriages in between 2 of the kids. It was not a good experience. So I was clearly not in good health.
Yeah,
But you would do it all again.
Yes.
yeah, she's talking about having more.
No, I'm not.
Hey, how you doing? Good. You can sit wherever, I'll move back.
Alright.
Hi, my name is, no, I'm just kidding. So again, how you walk into that pregnancy will tell you how you're gonna go through the pregnancy. You can change the tide too, by the way, okay? One of which, you know, when, make a long story short, a friend of mine, she was pregnant, and this, I was with another company where we had minerals. And they tasted like caca, you know the company, it was Anita. And,
Okay,
oh,
it's bad.
yeah, they didn't taste all that good, and so, but they were pretty decent. They're not as good as ours, and not to disparage them, but they were pretty decent. And so, our first couple weeks of the trial, horrible. And she goes, like you, she said this is, and it was like her 6th kid or 7th. Okay, she was happy a lot, and so apparently he was too. But what was funny was she's going all the way through. It's going to be this way all the way through. She goes, what changes is the 24-hour morning sickness will usually turn into about a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then things will normalize. Guess, oh, and by the way, you eat in there, and then you get some minerals, which she couldn't figure out. And I said, well, how about if we could change that? And he spoke up, that would be awesome. She didn't say a word. And she just kind of looked and she goes, skeptical. Okay? She's experienced all these babies, nothing changed. She listened to all these doctors, and some hillbilly redneck doesn't have a doctorate degree, isn't a doctor, doesn't even have his master's in nutrition. He's just a nutrition background guy who studied this stuff. He's going to know more than these doctors. And oh, and by the way, you don't get a prescription for this. How am I looking so far? Am I Fabio or fruitcake? I'm looking like a fruitcake. I'm looking like, what an idiot. But I went, you can continue to suffer, or if you're right, continue to suffer, but at least you gave it a try. Or I might be right. That's the only options you got, right? I mean, that's it. So she took the minerals. We didn't have as good as stuff we had. That particular company had caffeine in their, what would be our liquid drive. They had caffeine in there. I said, you don't want a caffeine in a baby, bad juju. And I said, so let's just stick with the minerals. And she called me up about 4 days later, and she goes, I just had my first 24-hour stretch without morning sickness. That quickly. But she was putting in her body, she's putting in her body heavy. So, are we getting my point here? The body will tell you when there's a problem. What's something that a lot of people lose during pregnancy? Happens to be in their mouth. Their teeth.
My grandma lost all her 7 kids.
Yeah. Cavities, lose their teeth. Pregnancy sounds great, doesn't it? You don't have to mention when she's gone. Yeah. Well, you should leave. No, I'm just kidding. And why is that?
It robs the calcium.
Robs calcium. The body goes, hey, I'm going to either keep my teeth or make sure that this baby that we fought so hard to have and keep and be healthy, I'm going to give it to the kid. That's why they end up with a lot of those. So again, I'm going to go back to, if you're looking at pregnancy or during pregnancy, high levels of electrolytes, the 4 minerals. Now, do we really talk about all 4, by the way, real quick? Why don't we talk about sodium?
Because we get enough of it and everything else.
The average American, the reason I'm going through this, the average American gets 4.5 times their actual required amount needed. Okay, you'll not hear me ever say RDA. RDA is a fictitious garbage number in my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but that's my opinion. I own it. They can try and fight me on it. I'm not going to win, but they can try. But RDA is garbage, in my opinion. You can have whatever you want. But according to what people say the body should have, that I respect, research showing actual taking human people and saying this is optimal level of health. Optimal level of health. How many times more than they're getting? 4.5 times. So you'll notice we don't have that in our neutralizer. That's why. Okay? How are we doing so far? Yeah?
My sister-in-law has been pregnant, and I think she was taking Natrich. Well, Wesley just turned 5, so almost the entire time she loves being pregnant. I don't think she gets any morning, nothing. I don't think she really gets crabby, except for maybe at the very end when it's like go time.
Yeah, you're making Heather upset just telling this story.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Heather. I'm so sorry.
You're going to be just like Story by then. Popping those little kids out, 6, 7, 8. Like puppies.
Have a litter.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hold on, let's have for a moment. You don't know her yet, but you'll get to know her as I razz her all day. Can you imagine a whole, like, 8 little Lizzes?
No.
Yeah.
Wow. White legs.
Oh, yeah.
They don't
Wow, is that a
make anything
diaper
for
or is that your...
That was Celtic.
Yeah, Celtic. It's not white, it's Celtic. Or polar bear.
Yeah. 8 little kids running around.
Yeah, yeah, and all their kids have this problem with this.
Yeah, none of their index fingers work.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
Now, yeah.
Day.
Welcome to How I Teach. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about infertility. Where does the body, what's one of the main, if you were going to test your body's alkalinity and effective alkalinity, what's one of the, there's really 5 spots. Where are the spots? Okay, we talk about, we actually test 2 as a company. What are the 2 we test? Urine and saliva. Effective. Why is it urine, because there's a reason why is it the urine is effective at testing your alkalinity?
That's your elimination, so what are you getting rid of?
What are you getting rid of? What's a more effective for women testing spot? Happens to be where we get pregnant. Where is it? Where do we get pregnant? Where's the baby house?
Uterus.
Uterus. If the uterus, it's the most accurate place to test alkalinity. It'll tell you what's going on in your body more effectively. So if you're acidic, and it's the first place that reacts to acidity, and that's where the egg goes, guess what? If you're highly acidic, you won't get pregnant. And if you do get pregnant, you have Heather syndrome. You have highly volatile baby making process. Is that a good way to say that? Because that's its place. And that's where the baby is. That's why it's so volatile when it's in there. It's going on. That's why the mood swings are higher. That's why the hunger and all these kind of things, or the lack of, or you eat everything and it wants to upchuck, because the body is in a high level of stress because of the acidity. Okay? So we know that neutralizer is important. Okay? We talked about glutathione. Okay, let's talk about really a little bit more in depth. Okay? Well, here, I'll go through these real quick. 75% of all women in the U.S., because it was a U.S. study, suffer from headaches, mood swings, bloating, irritability, depression, water retention, bloating, cravings, headaches, and other problems that threaten their relationships, work, and well-being. Okay? That's right out of the MayoClinic.com, if you're wondering. Okay? You'll know, and you guys don't know this, but I very rarely read. But I thought that was interesting. The Mayo Clinic acknowledged 75% suffered. In order, their definition of suffering means that they miss at least 3 days of work in a year. In other words, 3 different events. They miss events. It's something that basically shuts them down. At least 3 times a year, shuts them down. 75% of women go through that. And 100% of men have to deal with it. It's good to keep quiet, trust me. I'm impressed. You're going to want a notebook, though, just to give you a heads up. Do you have a notebook?
I can write my notes here.
Okay. I'm kind of a notebook kind of guy, but if you're good at notes, I'm okay with that. Are we good? Okay. All right. 20% of those women, so of the 75, 20% have more than 3 times a year. And require medical help. %8 of that 75 have what they call a disorder, which means 6 times or more a year. And they gave it a name.
Thank you.
I don't care about the name, so I'm not going to give it to you. It's sitting right here, but you're part of the 8%, you know. Okay? They gave it a name. Why is that so important to give it a name, by the way?
Because then that person says validated, yes, there is something wrong.
There is something wrong. Absolutely, they should validate it. What's the other part? They can prescribe something for it. When you have a name, without a name, okay? In 1990, did PMS exist? No, it did not. According to the medical profession, in 1990, PMS didn't exist. Matter of fact, it was in the 2000s that they actually gave it a name.
Really?
But they started acknowledging it and were forced to acknowledge it. Doctors had to be forced to acknowledge PMS.
That's why we just got second shift sleeping disorder or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Started about a month ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, that's been around a little bit.
that has, but
But
it's,
they've been advertising it.
Well,
Right.
yeah, but even.
but they gave it a name. It's legalized.
even-
Same with PMS. And again, I'm not going to.
PMS was something, I mean, I remember in high school, people talking about it, but maybe not a legalized name.
Advil is the #1 recommended by doctors. Aleve is second. What's that?
Meloxicam.
Yeah, Meloxicam. What is that? Meloxicam. What is it?
It stops inflammation. What I
Yes.
take.
Is blocking inflammation good?
Yes and no.
No.
I'm going to go with no. Here's why. Your product, Danazol is another one. Increases facial hair.
Oh no.
Increases body hair.
Oh no.
Acne can give you a deep voice.
I do not have to be one.
Not yet.
It's coming.
Don't go in the morning.
Here's my favorite part. Here's my favorite part.
Keep your mouth shut.
This one doesn't even include you.
Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
your son.
Because what it's really doing is it's a hormone release. Okay? So here's what that hormone release does. It actually changes the brain chemistry to stop the production of estrogen,
Makes me look like a guy.
which leads to osteoporosis, Alzheimer's, early onset menopause. How are we doing so far?
That's bad.
Chronic fatigue, Crohn's. We doing okay so far? Are you getting my point? I understand the inflammation bites. It's as gentle a way as I can put it. I understand it. I don't understand personally. I don't have to deal with what you're dealing with, except I'm married. No. I don't have to deal with it. Christine doesn't have that. But I understand, but there's a lot better solutions that are documented by the medical profession than what they're giving you. The difference is one can be prescribed, one can't be. Okay? You pick whatever you do from here moving forward. Okay? Here's what the Mayo Clinic wrote. My favorite. Oops. Hit the line. One of the doctors from the Mayo Clinic wrote, to think that 75% of women have a design flaw seems unfathomable. That was a Mayo Clinic doctor. To think that they have a design flaw. There must be better solutions. Now, he didn't go on to have the solutions. But this is a quote from a Mayo Clinic doctor. Okay? So I went into the solutions, and this is where I'm going to give. The real cause of PMS is simply this. Hormones are unbalanced, your estrogen levels increase, which your stuff blocks the estrogen level, which makes you more manly, which is one of the reasons you'll grow those other things and acne and other things. Not a great side effect. And your progesterone decreases, which is where the osteoporosis and these other things come from. Here's what research says. Here's the number one reasons that cause these symptoms. Sugar. Wait a sec. PMS, flow, high volatility. Number one problem is what? Sugar. Number two reason for high volatility PMS. High fructose corn syrup. Poor diet in general. In other words, a non-alkaline diet. I don't care where you go. If you know what an alkaline diet is, all the diets they're recommending, which you'll see here in a little bit, are alkaline. Every solution-oriented through diet, when you look at what they're recommending, except some of them don't know that flour is nothing more than a fat-causing, die prematurely and painful ingredient. I love, and some of them are so naive, they go, oh, and get your fiber. Okay? If you're getting your fiber from bread, just get fat, die early and painful. It's a foolishness statement. Vegetables have 10 times the amount of fiber. Bread is nothing in there designed to make you fat and painful. Okay? Caffeine. Notice I'm going in order. Okay? I love these people, and I just had this. I talked to a friend of mine, and she's one of these people that, woo, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? Got the moment? All over the place, cuckoo. Okay? PMS, everybody goes, we just don't go near her. Her own parents do that. Or in Rob's case, his girlfriend, woo, don't go there. And, see, I think that's somebody else. You like that? Okay. Okay? So I said, why don't you just tell me what your day is like? And she goes, okay. And I said, I want you to tell me everything you do during the day. Okay, I can do that. Perfect. So I get up in the morning and I go to school. No. Tell me everything. Everything. I get up. Okay. She goes, I go pee. All right? Good. That's normal. Because if you don't, it tells me you're really dehydrated. No. I want to know. And I'm telling you how I assess so I can get to the solution. If she gets up and she's not urinating, dehydration at a very high level. Even people dehydrated will get up and go to the bathroom. Remember, 80% of Americans are what? Dehydrated. Okay? Every single day, by the way, at one point during the day. So, and she goes, and I go, now after I pee, she goes, I'm thirsty. And I said, okay, what do you drink? She goes, well, sometimes it's Red Bull. Sometimes it's Monster. I'm like, what flavor? I was going to see if we were bonding. Can I have a moment thinking about that? Okay. So I said, and she goes, sometimes Monster, and then she went, sometimes it's Rockstar, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, whatever's cheaper. And I said, okay. Is that 5 times a week, 1 time a week? She goes, 7 days a week. I said, before you eat anything, she goes, I don't eat in the morning. Oh, even better. So you don't eat in the morning, you're in a state of fasting, and you dump in an extreme level of caffeine and sugar. Yeah. And then she wonders why she has
Monster swing.
Monster mood swings and PMS.
Nice.
And I went, okay, here's the deal. I'll make a deal. I know you like Monster and Red Bull and these caffeinated drinks. She goes, well, I don't drink coffee. She knew where I was going. I said, look, I'm not asking you about coffee. I said, I will tell you, I work in a nutrition company. I was addicted to caffeine drinks. And I will tell you, probably 3 days a week, I still sneak some sort of caffeinated, sometimes 4. I do. I go, I get it. I get it. I can relate with you. We're down like brother, sister, 2 flat tires. Couple of idiots drinking stuff we shouldn't drink. She goes, okay, good. You're not going to make me quit. She didn't even comment about the idiot comment. This is perfect. But here's the deal. You can only have it after you've had a protein. At least 3 ounces. She goes, why is that? Because the meat and the acids will soak up at least some of that acid. Or that caffeine. And the process of digestion takes a lot of energy. At least it'll go in there and you've got a high level of digestion going on, high levels, and it'll offset some of the volatility of that caffeine. So if you don't want to quit, which I get, because I'm struggling fully quitting, and I know I need to fully quit. It used to be every day and about 4 of them. So part of the reason I gained the weight, and I'd sit up and study, and I'd eat chips all night. 3, 4, 5 in the morning, not that I did that last night. But it wasn't chips.
It was cookies then.
No, it wasn't. I didn't have anything bad, actually. I had grapes, and then I had blueberries, watermelon.
And Cheetos, because that's Cheetos.
No, I didn't have. I really didn't have any of that. I had. Hey, come on! I know what's good for you. I had good stuff, but here's the problem: they don't work as good. You can eat a blueberry and still fall asleep in under 5, 10 seconds. I know. Because about 4 this morning, I was doing that.
Eat frozen ones.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, I probably should.
Eat something crunchy.
I'm going to go to that. Okay. The next, remember we're going in order, most volatile of the body is any dairy. Okay? Have you noticed a commercial that hasn't been around much lately for milk?
It's calcium.
Yeah, it doesn't say calcium.
Doesn't say calcium anymore.
Really?
Well, yeah, because you don't get calcium from milk. When it is pasteurized, homogenized, you literally takes calcium chelates. You'll hear the word chelation a little bit later. Chelates calcium out of the body. The more milk you drink, the less calcium you have in the human body. And people, who, particularly women, who drink milk during their period or pre-period, guess what? What dumps in the body during the maybe we're going to get pregnant stage? What dumps in the body? Where does it send its calcium? All down here. And if you don't have it, it'll steal it. And if you don't have it, you'll get Liz affected. High levels of pain. It's not high levels of pain, it's lack of omega, calcium, and glutathione. One of those 3 is lacking. That's why the pain. And the body's going, I need it, I'll take it from anywhere. And oh, and by the way, I'm going to teach you to take care of me better and cause more pain. If you don't think the body's capable of doing it, I'm going to remind you. I can take somebody and do leg lifts, and we will put electrodes and dye their thighs. I've done this in part of studies where we dyed their thighs, and I proved the point of how their muscle wasn't firing. We just sat and they had special machines. It was part of the University of Minnesota. It's really cool. But we take athletes, and we take people her age, young, optimal in life stages, and I go, look. Or we take dudes like him, all big and buff, and I go, okay, you do your workout. And they'd be there, and they'd go, oh, put on, and it's so much fun when you get those studies, because we get guys who don't take any disrespect to it, but a lot of guys your age, your size, your build, will go, and I go, so what do you lift? And whatever it is, they're going to add about 40 pounds, right? They just do, because they're looking around, and the studies were always your age, younger, whatever else, and built, and then, of course, they look and, 150. Nice. Then you'd see him maybe swinging. Woo, woo. And I'm like, damn, that's awesome. Keep going. And I go, oh, how was it? I'm going to do a full set. How many are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to do 13. Whew. Awesome. And we'd show him on the machine. I go, man, one of your muscles is doing awesome. They got to see the 4 muscles and 3 not working. How do you feel? Oh, that was good. Yeah. I'll do it my way. We're going to put 75 pounds on. We're going to do it in 30 seconds. One way. Guess what the body does? I'm what?
Safe.
Safe. Holy crap, this burned. What's going on? And I go, yeah. All your muscles are working. Want to get big, buff, and strong? Let's teach you the right way. It's the same thing. Her body's going, pain, pain, pain. I'm going to make it worse. I'm having to lift a lot of weight. I'm in danger. I'm not going to send anybody. The body has a mechanism built in our brain that knows what's going on. Why do you crave chocolate, particularly during the pre-stage of PMS?
Calcium in the milk chocolate?
Magnesium.
Chocolate has magnesium.
Chocolate has magnesium at a very nice little level.
Good chocolate.
Okay? But what is sugar? Where does sugar rate on the volatility level of a menstruation? The number 1, worst, right? Okay? The worst.
So Dove milk chocolate's out.
Okay? But yet you need the magnesium. The body goes, hey, I need magnesium because I just dumped it all in my might get pregnant stage. I dumped it all because now I'm not getting pregnant. Damn it. Not getting pregnant. I'm just going to dump it. Oh, and by the way, since she didn't take care of me, I'm going to make life heck for her. I need some magnesium, though. Chocolate isn't bad. And why I can make my owner miserable.
Your uterus really hates you.
I hate you too, uterus.
You just said it.
Now you know why I was looking forward to teaching this. Next thing, alcohol. Alcohol and PMS do not go well together, or menopause. Why? There's a specific reason. What?
Then you have some great conversations.
You have some great conversations. Yes. No. Why do alcohol and high levels of PMS, what's going on? Okay? Now, there's something called the cell barrier ability. Okay? Let's go here. This is other stuff we need. Okay? This is what a cell looks like. Okay? They're generally not perfectly round. You know, like you see, those are more red cells and white cells. Those are really good and round. But a lot of our cells are built kind of, you know, like a kidney bean. You know, they're kind of odd shapes. You get my point? Okay? This barrier, okay, it's like your skin. There are certain things that are required for it to break the cell barrier lining. Okay? Alcohol doesn't require anything. Alcohol is able to break the cell barrier lining, and what alcohol does is it consumes parts of your cells. When they measure your 2.0 or whatever, when you're 0.85, when you're alcohol, that means how much alcohol is in your cells. They can measure it through your VO2 max, your oxygen release, right? We got all this? Okay. Now, what gets kicked out in a cell when you have alcohol? Yes. What else? Magnesium.
Omega-3.
Glutathione.
Glutathione.
You guys are on the right track.
Electrolyte.
Calcium,
Potassium.
magnesium, potassium. That's why you have a hangover.
What's lack of electrolytes?
Mm-hmm. Particularly which electrolyte? Magnesium. And which one do you need a lot more of? Also during fertility, but also PMS. What is one of the main things it dumps? Magnesium. What do you get headaches from? A lack of magnesium. Well in excess of 90% of headaches are cured with magnesium. And yes, I can use the word cured. Notice I don't use that very often as a speaker, but I can say cured. Why? Because now doctors are saying it. They're catching up. Okay? So now you're low in electrolytes. You're low in electrolytes, what happens to your PMS? So it's not the alcohol that's the problem. It's the kicking out of electrolytes. The fourth thing it kicks out, beyond the three that we really need, because most of the time we have enough sodium, is glutathione, which is your happiness one. Okay?
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay? Here's the other things that cause more PMS. Low levels of glutathione, low levels of enzymes, low level of electrolytes, low levels of omega-3. The last one that was mentioned in the multiple studies, I read about 45 different studies on these things. The other one that was mentioned is nitrate-treated meats. And it was stated that women who are pregnant will smell the nitrate and consider it rancid. So it's not a stretch why I made that comment. And they literally found it out. So why is it rancid? Does the body want nitrates?
No.
No. So if it doesn't want it, it'll tell the body, hey, this is bad, so it smells rancid. They had no other reason. When the woman wasn't pregnant, you have less concern with nitrates, didn't smell rancid again. Pregnant, rancid. And they were, so what you experienced was normal. And you may have started associating with all meats. It's possible. And that's what it went through.
Just the beef. Chickens seem to be fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying what was written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, what's the reason why women, it's the little pickles and ice cream and weird stuff like that?
Okay.
What's that deal?
Piece of cake. That's a, when, let's use an example. When a woman is menstruating, or menopausal, they crave what? Chocolate. Because of what? Magnesium. When you crave a pickle, what are you craving? Whatever mineral's in there, I don't know.
Still.
They have electrolytes in pickles.
They have electrolytes.
Vinegar.
Okay?
Vinegar.
Vinegar. I have no idea. Do you know what I mean?
It could be
But-
an alkaline.
It could be an alkaline.
Acidic acid.
Yeah. Here's my point. The body knows what's in food. Remember, I made this statement before. We got a couple new people. I said, you know, one of my favorite things to do when I sit down with people and talk about eating, I'll say, you know, what would be if I said, hey, we're gonna have lunch, what's the most healthy sandwich you can make? I set them up, right? I mean, you guys all know me. I'm gonna put the odds in my favor, and they'll go, I'm gonna have a, you know, 35 grain bread, you know, whatever the number is, I don't know, what are they? 14, 26 set hot, I don't care. But they get on, you know, or I have wheat bread.
Like,
Butter split top, baby.
it's the unwich from Jimmy John's. Though.
Yeah.
We can answer that question
Number
now.
12.
And they go, I have a turkey sandwich with, what's not mayo, what's supposed to have less calorie? What is that?
Veganese.
Miracle Whip. Yeah, Miracle Whip, thank you. All right, give him a gold star. You're all right, I don't care what Jenna said about the
He came on Women's Health Day.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice
and
job.
to listen to a guy speaker. Okay, and then they go, and turkey, but only the white meat,
Oh, white meat.
right? You get these people who know a little bit about health. They don't, but they think they do, and they go, that's healthy. And they go, oh, cool, and you guys all know, but we're catching them up, right? We're gonna get everybody up to speed. And they go, oh, you eat ice cream. And again, some of you've got to do this sometime with somebody who's healthy. They come unglued. What do you mean? That's not ice. I don't eat ice cream. I would never eat ice cream. Look at me. I'm built like this. Why you think I'd eat ice cream? I wouldn't look like this if I ate ice cream, right? I'd look like, well, me actually. And right? And you go, no, you're eating ice cream, and then they come. I mean, literally. And you can push them off, but don't make them too angry because they will. They'll get very defensive. Okay, particularly guys in male ego. And again, I love to mess with it. So I'll go, great. Let me explain something. Bread is simply a sugar. The leanest part of a turkey is 18% fat. That's the leanest part of a turkey. So if you're having the dark meat, it's more than 18% fat. High levels of fat with a high level of sugar. And the synthetic form that they use in salad dressing is 3 times more fat, or salad, Miracle Whip, is 3 times more fattening than if you just had mayonnaise, in case you didn't know. Oh, by the way, At a molecular level, it's just ice cream. The body knows though. The body knows, I need this, it knows where to get it, even if you subconsciously don't, or consciously don't know what it is. Why make her in pickles? I don't know what's in a pickle, but you're lacking minerals. You're lacking something. The body goes, I know where I can get it. Yeah.
People do weird
People,
stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
Start eating sheetrock.
Or dirt, or whatever else, yeah.
Oh, my mother.
Oh, I thought you were saying I did.
No, I was just gonna add, they did studies too with kids that had different illnesses and diseases and stuff, and put them in a room with toys, and a room with a table filled with food that's decently nutritious. They're drawn to the thing that has the nutrients that they need. They tend to eat to fix their own problem without even knowing it.
Yeah.
What about the kids that just eat dirt?
Yeah, well, sometimes
They're lacking minerals.
they're lacking minerals.
Okay.
Do you know where vitamins came from? Does anybody know?
Flintstones.
Where we came up with supplements.
The ground.
What happened was these guys who were in, and it was men, that started this, and then they started giving certain types of dirt to people that were in Auschwitz. They were Jews, they were captured by the Germans, and they figured out these guys were healthier and they were eating enriched dirt. I mean the richer dirt, not the dirt, like sandy dirt, but they would eat it. And what they figured out is they had more mineral content in there. And through these people survived, they literally survived. And even the Germans couldn't figure out why these people were healthy. They were literally, and they were eating dirt and they'd laugh at them. And so those people came back, and then a company like Amway came out and started making supplements. They weren't the first, but they were one of the biggest. But they took some of the mineral content from that soil, and that's how some of the first supplements were made. But it literally, they were eating dirt. It's minerals. So what happens to people who are addicted, I mean, again, you can watch these weird addictions. Like one of my favorites, the guys, it was a particular guy who was eating 6 to 8 bags, plastic bags a day. And he had certain types of bags that were bad. There are some mental disorders. Does that make sense? They had on the same show, they had somebody who basically lived on dirt. Now they lived, both of them lived. I found out through some research, and you can go online and Google the guy who ate plastic eventually died. His intestine was just basically killed, died. There just wasn't. The guy who ate dirt, still living. Okay? You can. You start getting into psychological disorders. That makes sense? I mean, you can, too much water, you drown. I mean, a little bit of dirt, you're out there eating carrots, a little bit of dirt, my grandma would say, it's good for you. Fiber. Right? And she would say it. My grandma wasn't a dietitian, farmers knew. It was just fiber's going to pass. It's all really fiber, it just goes through and cleans stuff out. No big deal. A little bit of dirt. But if they're craving it and that, they're lacking minerals. Okay. Are we good? Can we move forward to the solutions? We're kind of in the solutions, but we're going to go into them a little more readily. Okay. According to, let me get you the, Mark Human, Human, MD, Institute for Functional Medicine, MayoClinic.com, Women's Health Magazine, May 2012. I went through, but anyway, long story of Women's Health. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Jump Off the Hormone Swing by Lorraine Pintus. Really good book if you have people like with you, Liz, where you have that high volatility. You want to learn a lot. She's Lorraine Pintus, Pintus. Jump Off the Hormone Swing. You get my point. These are all the references I used that came up with these solutions. Okay, and they're almost universal.
How do you spell the last name again?
Pintus. Okay. 5 simple steps to lower or lessen the impact of PMS and menopause. Almost universally. Okay. Number 1, clean up your diet. They all agree. You've got to clean up your diet. Okay. What does that really mean? Eat alkaline. I'll paraphrase it down. If you go through it, they talk about stop eating refined sugar, stop eating breads, eliminate sugar, eliminate high fructose corn syrup, and processed foods. I mean, it's eating alkaline, guys.
Right.
Okay? In there, cook as little as possible. This Mark Hummus, that was his version. Not all of them had that sentence in there. Make sense? But Mark, I will tell you, he is world accredited. His background is pretty impeccable. Anyway, he's a brilliant man.
That was Mark what?
Hummus.
I thought you said human.
Let me go back to it. Maybe I'm
That's
saying it
human,
wrong.
yeah.
Oh, that's.
I may be saying it
I
wrong.
brought hummus with cucumbers.
You're right, I said it wrong. Let me spell it for everybody, my apologies. Human, human.
Yeah, I thought that's what you
Yeah, I said it wrong, sorry. Maybe I got food in the brain. MD. Mark Human, Human, sorry.
Sopra.
It's a friend hummus.
Okay. Second thing that they almost all universally agree, increase your water, clean water particularly. Okay. Definition of clean water depending on which article, again, chlorine, chloride, chloramine free. Those are the three chlorides are in local water. Because they can't add enough chlorine because it would be unhealthy, so they make chloramide. Then they added that to the point where if you had straight chloramide, they would be unhealthy, so they go 1% less than that. But you already have chlorine, 1% less than that. And then you have chlorine, chloramide, and you get my point. Next thing, eliminate caffeine. Or minimize caffeine, however you want to say that. Minimize it or eliminate. Their recommendation is eliminate, but walk before we run. Next thing they all agree, and again, this is all part of the eating stage, we'll go to the next step in a minute, is stop drinking alcohol. The one article that I found in there said, though, is it dark wine? What do you call that? Red wine, thank you. Red wine, 1 glass maximum during the latter stages of your cycle. So it'd be the second stage, right, your PMS stage. Seemed to have a soothing effect, and then it went on to say a whole bottle for the husband. Yeah, 1 glass red wine, not white wine. And again, even in there, they were saying it didn't need to be a full glass. It almost sounded like they were recommending it. But if you go through the articles, you'll see. Okay?
Was that number 4?
This is all still under the eating stage. It's not really numbered. These are, points. Okay? But whatever you can call it, whatever you want. Could be A, B, C, D. Your GPA. And next one. They made, almost everyone really made an emphasis of uncooked vegetables. What are they really saying for us in the know?
Live enzymes.
Live enzymes. Green, leafy green. I mean, it was the darker the green. These different articles from different, I read stuff from Mayo, Johns Hopkins, Pepperdine, USC, UCLA, University of Minnesota has one. Dr. Nigerian is in there. I had to know him. His kid played football there at the U. Nigerian is the head of whatever. You can go across the country with universities on these studies, and they'll say the same thing. But what are they really saying? Live enzymes. We know because we're more advanced than these universities. Well, we're not trying to find the magic ingredient. We understand that God already gave it to us. We're just utilizing what's there. The other one, don't skip meals. If you're going to eat right, don't skip meals. Particularly which meal?
Breakfast.
Breakfast. Okay? And so eating alkaline, we know what to eat. Yes?
Why the meals thing in breakfast?
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Why? Because your body in 6 hours goes into a state of fasting. Most of us sleep more than 6 hours unless we are a day before training. And of course all of us only sleep 45 minutes. And then, anyway. So then you got sleep, which is generally 6 to 8 hours. Some people a little more, a little less, but you get my point. You're definitely in a state of fasting if you're 6 hours or more. You're in fasting. What happens in a state of fasting?
You're repairing.
Your body goes into a state of hoarding.
Storage.
You're going to hoard everything. Well, it's in a state of fasting and you're either ovulation or menstruation, what's it going to do? Hoard even more. More issues. More Liz effect. And we're just gonna call it because of you and me.
It's an official medical term.
It is,
We can get a prescription for that.
the other thing, and this was in multiple articles that I read, to eat, their recommendation was 3 to 6 times a day, depending on which article you read. Minimum number I saw was 3, but the last 3 hours was kind of universally accepted. If you're going to eat vegetables. Eat vegetables.
Is that why they
Yeah.
recommend like snacking throughout the day more
There you
than
go.
3 big meals? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly break all that down of how to do that. But yeah, snacking and again, what gained my weight was snacking because I was trying to stay awake studying.
right.
Okay, and then of course adding caffeine. Caffeine's a fattening agent anyway. So, but the reality of it is, snacking should be, in order to get your body out of in the food mode, meaning I ate, it has to be about 300 calories for somebody over the age of 16. Body goes through the transformation. Okay, so snacking should be over 300 calories because then you've actually eaten a meal. If you don't eat a meal, it's not really going to benefit you much. And what could happen, especially if you have anything, your pancreas could dump a bunch of insulin and get you into higher storage. So you got to watch what you're snacking on.
So Snickers, not good?
Not good, no.
Okay.
As long as you have 300 calories.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I mean, it's,
The Musketeers is valid though.
Yeah.
even the small
So
Snickers is over
Snickers.
300 calories.
It is.
Oh,
All
yeah,
right.
it's like 400.
Cut out dairy
91.
was again almost every one of these multiple articles, 20-some articles said it. So human wasn't the only one I read. He had a pretty good layout. I liked his layout, so I stole a lot of his layout. But if you read these, you'll see different interjection. Increased fiber. Flaxseed especially helpful in correcting constipation or balancing hormones. I took that on the research of, because they kept saying flaxseed, flaxseed, flaxseed. None of them said why. So then I looked up flaxseed and I looked it up. And the number 1 and 2 things they wrote was balancing hormones and constipation. I went, I don't need to write anymore. There's a whole bunch on flaxseed, but just know that. Guess what we sell? Flaxseed. Okay?
Fiber.
So a question on the dairy,
Mhm.
does that include raw?
You know, there wasn't much research on raw, so I can't give you that answer. I will say this, that part of the problem with the dairy was the hormones that are injected into the cows. The high levels of hormones really affected women who had this high peaks and valleys. The hormones set them off. Yeah.
Weston A. Price has a fair amount of research and knowledge in the raw milk stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a guy to look up if you want more of that.
Everybody got that? And I didn't. I had to maximize our resources as it was. There's a lot of information again. Again, they recommend omega-3. Okay, wild-caught salmon, almonds, walnuts, and other wild-caught fish. Notice there's not,
Lake of the Woods Walleye.
ooh, yeah. Not really high in omega, but actually surprisingly pretty high. I did some fun with it. Yeah.
For someone who is not as familiar with our product line and what we have that solves this stuff, should we do that at break or?
No, I mean, I mean, there's a lot of research on exoxanthin and particularly some other things, but the omegas. But we have omega. Here's and I'm going to get to how they recommend it. Let me do it the way I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Okay, there, I have my, okay. We're still on eating clean, so we're talking about salmon. Organic whenever possible. And that wraps up what they recommend for food, different articles. Okay? And we're going to fly here for a bit so we can take a break and get on to the other type of training. Okay. Number 2 that they recommend, take supplements. He's a doctor. He's not the only one. Almost all of these articles I was reading were done by doctors. And their number 2, take supplements. So research has got to be telling them something. So when your doctor is not telling you to take supplements, guess what he's not doing much or she's not doing much of? Research. And all of the stuff I took these from are clinical studies. These are not done in theory or things that doctors wouldn't approve of. They see clinical study, and again, I have the different articles. Okay, Supplements, high levels magnesium, calcium, potassium. There's a shock. This is that humidor dude. He said two things.
What? Humidor? Humidor?
Now you know why I don't ever remember names. I remember these kind of things.
Human?
People who took and consumed high levels of omega-3 as a supplement and or diet saw a major diminishing of PMS and menopause.
We just sprinkle this in like certain
Okay.
areas.
So literally, all in one of these that he did, because he does them in multiple, he does later on, you'll hear different studies done in glutathione, but multiple sources said the exact same thing. They had consumed it in their diet, and they supplement, had a major reduction in PMS and menopausal symptoms. Major, that was a word continuously. And then they'd all have these different articles, and this lady goes, I have my life back, and I mean, you hear all these testimonies, are pretty amazing. Okay? Glutathione. The most important thing you're out of balance during PMS, menopausal, or infertility is a lack or deficiency of glutathione. The number one thing. The best relief for glutathione, and the only real relief that they found, was intracellular glutathione. What does that mean? It has to come through one of two sources, your lower intestine or an IV. Lower intestine or IV. Now I found 9 different glutathione companies. We're not the only one. Everybody okay with that? We're not the only glutathione out there. I only found 2 that were sold that use liposomes and glutathione. The only way you're going to get glutathione to your lower intestine is a liposome that they have found. Okay? You guys are new. All a liposome is an eggshell. And our eggshell is made of what? Sunflower seed oil. Why oil? Yeah? Say it louder.
Stays protected in the stomach.
Stays protected against 2 things. Oxidization and stomach acids. Glutathione is the best known. There may be one better that are unknown, undiscovered, but right now is the best known to the human body antioxidant. It is in every human cell. Without glutathione, you're dead. Period. End of story. You can go without calcium. Just osteoporosis, diminishing of calcium over time. You have low levels of glutathione, you're dead. That's how they measure life expectancy. So this egg goes through the air, and it needs to be pulled apart. It can't be acid apart, it needs to be pulled apart. What pulls it apart? The what? The villi in the lower intestine. Then it goes, the eggshell is open, and on the inside of our GPC is glutathione and vitamin C. Guess what's next on the whole PMS menopausal is low levels of?
Vitamin C.
Vitamin C.
Oh, I know that.
Like I said, if you had a woman owner who said, I have major PMS, my mom's got menopause, horrible, I'm going to design a product line to make sure I address that, that's our product line. Oh, and by the way, I've already started next month, which is arthritis and chronic pain and fatigue. Guess what? You could say the same thing. Glutathione, omega-3, enzymes, and electrolytes, again and again and again and again. Okay? One of the doctors wrote, we don't have a PMS or menopausal problem, we have a low level of glutathione. Okay? I don't even know how to say this. Here. You good at sounding out words?
I don't know. Depends on the whip.
Right in the top left.
Acetaminophen.
There we go. Everybody know what acetaminophen is? What? Tylenol. Here's what it says about Tylenol. It depletes the human body of glutathione. What's Advil made of?
Same.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. What's another name for ibuprofen? I'm trying to remember. I didn't write it down. I was listening to it on the way. Guess what it depletes? Glutathione and omega-3.
So it makes you dependent on the drug for more relief.
Eliminates it.
Interesting.
Okay. They also recommend in the article green tea, caffeine-free particularly. It's got EGCG in it, which is alkylglycerol, which is it basically helps with cell and immune system.
So that will stop the inflammation that happens.
Omega
Omega? Okay.
and glutathione. Number 3.
Yeah, omega-3 sometimes.
Yeah. Number 3. Notice the number one thing they recommend is the one that depletes glutathione and omega. Oh, by the way.
It's a management system, not a.
I don't
Here.
understand.
Yeah.
They make money off of that.
They make money. They don't.
Hate
Yeah.
money.
No, we like money. Nothing wrong with money.
Tylenol or Advil
They ask for it every Sunday. There can't be anything wrong with it. I love all this stuff. Okay. Number 3, they recommend get moving.
for the pain.
They, depending on which article, was 4 to 5 times a week, 30 minutes of some sort of aerobic exercise.
That's why I always crave
4 to 5 times a week. What?
That makes sense. I always want to work out in that time of the month, and
See, you want to be happy.
yeah.
Before the other things, we're going to stick with happy.
Nice.
Number 4, address stress.
What?
Address stress. Every person in this room, every person you meet has stress. All people, oh, I have stress. Really? I don't have any. I don't know what it's like. I only have 2 kids, a wife, and a business, and another business that I'm partnering with, and you know, and I'm kind of responsible for a group of people, and they count on me to kind of do my thing so they can do their thing. And yeah, I don't have any stress. Don't know what it's like.
You're not busy.
You know, I get to the point where, you know, I'm worried about other people's businesses where sometimes 2-3 days in a row, I don't sleep, and I lie when I meet Mike in the morning because we'll talk about sleep, and I really haven't. You know, I don't know what that's like. But I address it. What is address stress? And they had different recommended, one of which is deep breathing techniques. I've added that. That's what I did this morning. I was so amped up, going through stuff, redoing the training, redoing the afternoon training, rebalancing it out because I couldn't get it under the time allotment that we needed to finish here in the next 15 minutes. It was driving me crazy. I couldn't get all the info in for what I wanted to make sure we got to and landed the plane before we hit the right time. It was driving me insane. So I went, finally I hit it, and I went, and I'm still jacked up. Went through deep breathing. Yeah, and you already heard how much I slept, but at least I slept some. It was all that was left. I slept, woke up, Christine's like, how was your sleep? Great.
Just could eat some more.
She goes, did you go to bed late? No. Went to bed early. Less than an hour ago, but I didn't leave, I left that up. Okay. Okay, but address stress. One of the things I recommend is take a mineral bath. Okay? So let's go back in this, to answer Jenna's question. It said we need to have glutathione at a what level? Intracellular level, which means it either gets put in through an IV or lower intestine. Do we address it with GPC? Yes. We need to have omega-3 at a intracellular level. Why is fish so good? It's in an oil. It's in an enzyme. Or not an enzyme, but a liposome. By its nature, the way God designed it. That's why I said, our guys who produce our stuff, they're not that smart. They just look at the data, we can reproduce it. Omega in fish is in a liposome. Goes through, the oil gets brought out in the lower intestine, omega-3 gets dumped into the body.
That's why people take fish oil.
Yeah, although there's a lot of mercury in that. Okay, so we've talked about these kind of things. Mineral bath, again, they're saying that is one of the most recommended things that they have. We have mineral bath. Okay, they talk about, and this was really funny, in multiple, matter of fact, 11 different medical journals produced by doctors said prayer time. I thought that was really cool. You're not into spirituality, you wouldn't think that's cool. But I am. I thought that was really cool. That these guys, and they didn't say they were Christian or not Christian. As a matter of fact, one was pronounced atheist, but he said prayer time does seem to, but he relates it to meditation. Which is fine. I don't really count, but it was cool. It was mentioned. That was a common denominator. Get it in control. Number 5 thing that you should do if you're struggling with this is log your symptoms. In other words, start seeing some of the things that trigger you. Log it. Get to know your body. There are things. It could be exasperated. In other words, made bigger. Helpless. Exasperated. And made bigger. I don't know his name yet. I can't pick on him. You're next. Yeah. Made bigger, okay, by food allergies. And yet, again, a lot of times these doctors, it's the naturopaths that are discovering it. You look at their research. And all they're really doing is going, hey, there's a reason, you know, hey, we've added some of these things. Some of them have added, you know, eating more glutathione effective, nutrition. They don't sell the glutathione and they don't have it because, you know, a lot of people don't know about that there is a product out there that actually works, which is our job. Okay? They're saying we're eating omega-rich diets. They're taking omega-3 pills, which is not a very effective source, but it's better than not. And yet they're still having, and then also they go, oh, it's just a simple food allergy. Guess what the number 1 food allergy is? Gluten. Gluten. And they find out, and all of a sudden they eliminate gluten. They have those things, and all of a sudden instead of, woo, Liz, they're, you know, like a normal woman. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Here, this last section that I went to, those previous references, add these, okay? Because Best Healing Magazine, 2015. Journal of Endocrinology, 2000, December, 167. Articles 447 through 52. The HRT studies with Grady, Hulley, and Azali, 2002, 2002, 2004, 1996, 1993, 1981. Do you hear the time frames? You hear them mentioning glutathione, omega in the 80s? They had it. Not very good sources, but they had it. They knew of it. I mean, glutathione, again, I'm going to remind you, that's how they measure. If they came to, say your name.
Charles.
Charles? So they came to Charles, and let's say for a moment that Heather's a doctor, and you go to Dr. Heather, and Heather goes, hey, you know, Charles, and you go to her and say, I want to measure my life expectancy. Great, here's what we do. It's a simple test. We're going to do a little blood test. We're going to measure the glutathione levels in 2 parts of your body. That's it. Great. Why 2? Because they don't want to trust one. Kind of like we do with XP3, test multiple vehicles as opposed to one, right? So we get more accurate. Great. So we can measure, we're going to know about how long you live based on these levels. They've known this for many, many, many years. Why are we finding out now? Because they couldn't figure out an effective way to get it to your bloodstream. So it didn't do any good. And number 2, couldn't prescribe it. So now they found a way to prescribe glutathione called what? IV. You have to have an IV, because if they stick a needle in you, you've got to have a doctor do it. Which doctors don't really do it, the nurses do it, but you get my point. Well, now they're going, hey, glutathione is great. Matter of fact, if you have cancer, you should take glutathione. You have debilitating arthritis, you should have glutathione and omega. You should. They'll say, we'll give it to you an IV. Great. Chronic fatigue? Yep. Lyme? Yep. Menstrual issues? Yep. Menopausal issues? Yep. We'll give you an IV. All of those things go back to that. Yep, we'll give you an IV. We got a better solution. A lot more economical. Price is dropping. It's only $400 a treatment.
For an IV?
For an IV glutathione. You're seeing it as low as $400. Still as much as $1,000 I saw. So.
How often do you need that?
Ideally 2 to 3 times a week. And it's only effective for several hours. How long is ours effective for?
12 hours.
Hmm?
12 hours.
12 hours. Why wife should take it 2 to 3 times a day. All right. Questions? Shocking, I'm gonna finish on time. Never happens. Yes.
Alright, so I was talking to somebody yesterday about, or Thursday, 'cause I know she's doing some infertility stuff. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm great, I don't got, so she's like, I don't necessarily need to go to your thing, but she wants to get the information anyway. But she's like, I'm fine, I'm like clockwork, I can almost say to the hour of when it's gonna happen. It's the hubby that's having the problem. So the penetration issues, count issues, the count's up, penetration's a little better. But anyways, I'm assuming glutathione is probably one of the biggest things for the guys.
Glutathione, 1, and 2 is, okay, remember exoxanthin and salmon. Okay? So I want you to think in exoxanthin. These guys are new, so let me explain. What they figured out is the salmon that made it to the top, to the promised land. Whoa! The women were available and swimming. Got it? I'm going to take you through a visual. Right? The ones who made it there
I don't get it.
and not what I heard. Anyway, so the ones who made it had high levels of exoxanthin. Okay? Now, what's the difference from those swimmers to those swimmers? Next to nothing. So our swimmers, as guys, need high levels of exoxanthin. What of our products have exoxanthin? Omega-3.
What does exoxanthin do?
It increases the ability for those swimmers to swim.
Strengthens the cell. basically.
Strengthens the cell. But particular swimmers need a lot of energy. Think of it. Think of, these guys, just think, and again, I keep going back to other visuals, but whether it's a fish swimming or who's the dude who won 20-something? Michael Phelps. These swimmers require a lot of energy. I want you to think that line. Need a lot of energy to get to the end, and they want to be victorious, right? That's how it works. Not saying anything different than what you already know, and I'm trying to say it in a way that's on camera and politically correct, because they have been emailing me some of the comment or texting. Okay? So their whole goal is to get there. No different. Our swimmers, male swimmers, sperm, has the same goal. I want to be first, and I want to have enough energy to enjoy victory. How's that for saying it? Okay?
Works good.
So,
I get it now.
yeah, you do. Thanks. I got them all. Okay? So when you look at that, exoxanthin, so again, and omega play a huge role in that, and so is glutathione. So if they're lacking the ability of swimmers, and I will tell you most of the time, and again, lots of research, that penetration or depth, so to speak, isn't the issue. Or if she's laying down or standing up or whatever, isn't the issue. The swimmers can swim. They have water, fluids, they can get there. If they have enough energy, stamina, and exoxanthin, omega, and glutathione play a role in that. The other side is he acidic? Because again, if the body's acidic, does it want to reproduce? No, male or female. And so now the same effect where they wouldn't produce, the egg wouldn't stick, or even, and we were talking about the friend of Jenna's where 9 months wouldn't even drop an egg. Heck no, I'm not even going to risk getting pregnant. The swimmers are not a whole lot different. If you're acidic, they don't have the stamina, even if they have exoxanthin. Even if that, they just don't have the ability to do what they're supposed to do. Or when they get there, they can't break through the barrier of the egg. So they don't have enough energy once they get there, it's spent. Because acidity plays a huge role in that. So, again, all the things that we teach as a company and our product line are all built around these themes. Guess what? It's going to address people's problems, like pregnancy, all the way to the Lyme or arthritis or aging prematurely or losing weight. All of these things all play in the same arena. Because healthy is healthy. It's not, we don't have a product line that says, okay, this is built, it really is built around PMS. But if you were a researcher like I've been to prepare for this, you'd swear this was built around, because launch soap plays a key role. Why? Because of that sodium stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So shampoo, built around it. Hair gels. Take a look at the ingredients of stuff you buy in a store. Oh, by the way, you'll recognize the ingredient you just mentioned. Okay? Ours doesn't have it. Okay? Deodorants. You'd swear it's built around it. All of those things play such a key role in the volatility of PMS or the willingness for the body to be fertile. And so it seems strange. People go, I'm at the peak of my baby making ability, which is somewhere between, for girls, somewhere between the age of 15 and 30. Peak. Right? Peak. That they can't get pregnant. There's a reason. And usually, and again, nothing changes until what? Something changes on the inside. And that's in business and in body and life. Something's got to change inside. I mentioned to her, and then we'll take a break here, I mentioned to Heather, I said, you know, in seeing the picture, and then seeing a couple of your comments, we just became Facebook friends, and, you know, a couple of her friends said, I'm proud of you losing the weight, and you look great, and all those things. Acknowledge it and coming through, and when you make those changes, something internally changes the external. We see the external, right? When if you were to look at the two pictures, you go, wow, you really did, you know, and you look great now, and you go, wow, I would have never guessed you were a little heavier. I would have never. You look so thin and healthy. I just assumed it was that way all the time, right? Because I'm a new friend. We're new friends, right? When you look at pictures, we go, something internally changed to make the external change. And whatever that was. And you go, and that's what's got to happen in here. I can show you all the different things that we talked about in health. You can go to somebody and say, hey, look, you want to get pregnant? You want to have a healthy pregnancy? You want to have a healthy baby? Give yourself the best chance. Can't guarantee it. We breathe crappy air. We're to test it. We drink water that's contaminated, right? So there's things that we can't control. But if you're going to give yourself the best chance, what are some things that you're going to recommend? You just got a list, right? You meet somebody who goes, man, my daughter or my friend or my, man, their period, holy crap, I got to hide. Great. You need to be the vehicle that drives them and say, there's a solution. So, any other questions? Because we got 2 minutes left. Did it help?
Yes.
Having a guy do this, was it awkward?
No.
Yeah.
It's you.
What's that?
I said it's you.
Just me? Well, it's you. Yeah, and I will tell you, it shouldn't be awkward for you guys either. And go and what should be, because some people aren't as comfortable. I mean, again, the first class I ever taught in high school when I was going through college and was becoming a teacher was sex ed. So you're standing in front of 60-some kids, because that was my first classroom, was a double classroom, standing there talking about women's anatomy and women parts. You're on this hot seat. I mean, you're in the fire. You're sitting with 8th and 9th graders going, holy crud, or 7th and 8th graders, excuse me, and 60 of them in your first class. That was stressful. Actually, it wasn't. I had a good time. It didn't bother me, because it is reality. You've got to take a little bit of that attitude. If people have a problem, you've got to be willing to go. And one of the ways to say it, you know what? I heard. If you don't want to be the vehicle, I heard. Hey, the person you can and mention I heard, and you could use my name or Christina's name or any of the leaders and say, hey, look, I heard. How about I get them on the phone with you? And if you're not the one that can articulate well, or maybe Matt's uncomfortable being a guy talking about, pregnancy and different things. I'm not saying he is or isn't, but let's say he was. Then you go, hey, look, will you get Mike a call? He talks about it all the time. Cool. All right, so we're going to take a break. Like I said, we'll come back. We're going to do the mastery stuff. We have food? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. We have smoothies going to be made. Is that what I heard or not?
I made them this morning to keep everybody going and charged.
I know, I like it. So can we have
Charles, there's more up there if you want to try one.
Yeah, Heather's got to try some.
Strength test someone with,
Oh, you want to do a strength test on him, Mike?
I suppose. He might send me over.
Have you done a strength test?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've done a couple.
Yeah, I've done more than one.
Yeah.
We
So
should
he'll
try
do a
it again
strength
and make
test.
sure it still works, so.
Yeah.
We can't, once you have the smoothie, you'll be